Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&A, so I'm going to voice over a little bit of old training footage that I'll remix here for you guys, and let's knock this out. Alright, first question. Hi Jason, when you discussed Bulgarian training the other day, you discussed working up to a top set for the exercises for that workout. How many exercises do you think you could get away with each day in a single workout? For me personally, it's 3. It's 3. That's what I'm doing right now. Although if I do weighted chin-ups, I come home and do those at home. But for me, I work up to a heavy 1 to 3 rep set. They're not really true 1 rep maxes at this point. If oftentimes I'll only bump a weight that I've done a triple with by 2.5 or 5 pounds, and then do a single with it, maybe if I feel strong enough, and then work my way up from there. That's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, but for me it's 3 exercises, and that includes some sort of squat, some sort of press, and some sort of pull in that order. So if there's any confusion what I mean by that, it could be a beltless pause squat or a belted squat first. And I've switched back over to the last few days to belted again. I haven't worn a belt in 2 years, and I did 3 sessions with a belt this week. And then I did some of the other sessions without a belt. So I do a squat, and eventually I'll start rotating in front squats, especially if I want to start push pressing coming up here again. But a squat, and then some sort of press, and at this time I'm only rotating between the floor press and the strict press. And eventually I may throw in push presses. I may throw in dips. Right now I don't feel like messing with the flat bench and just dealing with spotters and people around and all that nonsense until I get my strength to a certain point. It'll get there, and it's like already I'm just doing the floor press, for example, and that'll carry over because I'm thick enough that I can touch my chest on the floor press, so it's not really a problem of it being a partial. It just takes a leg drive out and it forces me to press from a dead stop. So I do some sort of press, and like I said, within the next couple weeks I'll probably rotate dips in, but right now it's every other workout, a strict press or a floor press. And then I do some sort of pull, and that pull 1 day a week is just a conventional deadlift. And I don't go super hard on the deadlift. I don't hit a max. I don't hit a max at all on that. What I've done the last 2 deadlift workouts, I've just done 545 for a 3 rep set, right? Come in and do a triple. Leave a rep in the tank, at least 1 rep in the tank, and I'm working with a weight that I can handle, and I just do 1 peak set on that. Then the other workouts right now, I'm kind of rotating back and forth between a Pendlay row and a weighted chin up for a max triple, or for at least a relatively heavy triple. They may not be a true max, but we're getting up there. I'd put them up in that RPE 9 range as far as the triples go. And that's pretty much how I break it down. And again, there's other people out there who do it that way. A lot of coaches who do Bulgarian style training have their people do 2 lifts. Some have them do 3. I know Jamie Lewis advocates 3. Eric Bugenhagen, for people who aren't at his levels, the way he kind of looks at it, he advocates 3. So it really depends on what you're doing, how you're going about it. But I think 3 is a good round number to work with. I think that works really well for this sort of system. But in a lot of cases, particularly on your frequency or depending on what you're doing, 1 or 2 might be acceptable. All right, next question. Hey Jason, do you think it's possible to reach full forearm development from working manual labor for years? Older men look like their forearms are fully developed and only do manual labor. Yeah, I've seen lots of guys like that. Over the course of my lifetime, I've known many manual laborers, mechanics, construction guys, particularly mechanics, because again, my own background, I've worked as an industrial mechanic, and my dad's business was related to that. So you see a lot of guys in that line of work, pipe fitters and riggers, things like that. Anyone who works and moves a lot of big, heavy tools or pipes, for example. And again, that's what I have a lot of experience with, that, and then ranch. So guys who bale hay, build fences all the time. Same thing. You see full forearm development. And yeah, I think you can achieve it with that. Is it always going to give you the same grip strength that deadlifting 600 pounds? Well, no. But can a person get thick forearms that are proportionally developed, if not more developed than the rest of their body using manual labor? Yeah, of course. Of course. In fact, when I talk about some people needing more or less grip training, that might be the one group of people who might get away with a little more straps and training and still maintain a good grip. It's going to be manual laborers, so I'm going to kind of go back on something I pick on. I pick on straps a lot. But depending upon what a person does for a living, there are people whose forearms are relatively exhausted by the time they get to the gym. And for those people, they might need to do some strapped work just to be able to grip things. For someone who doesn't have a manual labor job, though, I'm of the opinion that straps do not need to be used or owned. And I stick to that opinion, but I would definitely consider making an exception for some of those people. So again, coming back to that point about balancing your life and your career and your job with your training becomes very important. And that's something you've got to factor in, going back to that first question also about the Bulgarian training. Because Bulgarian style training, what you do and your life looks like outside of the gym, is absolutely enormous, and to the point to where many people, that training system is completely unsuitable for them. Completely unsuitable for them, depending upon their physical and mental stress levels of whatever they do outside of the gym and their life looks like. So, the same could be said for a lot of the forearm development and grip strength with manual labors. It's just something to consider. All right, next question. Hey coach, what are your thoughts on prioritizing a certain lift for 10 to 12 weeks while maintaining your other lifts? I've been running Jonnie Canditos 9-week squat program, squatting 5 times a week while maintaining my deadlift and bench during this time, and I'm making great progress. What are the advantages and disadvantages of focusing on one lift at a time, and under what circumstances would you recommend someone to do so? Thanks. When there's a strength imbalance or a muscle imbalance, that's when you would do it. In other words, if you have a really strong bench, a really strong deadlift, and a weak squat, prioritizing your squat makes sense. And I mean, a perfect example, I've had to prioritize my squat again, and I'm still prioritizing it. I've come back to squatting again. I took almost 2 years off from squatting completely. I lost all my squat strength. I've maintained a good deadlift. You guys watched me do sets of 5 with 515 on the deadlift all the time. So, and I've done all this high volume deadlifting like you guys are seeing up here. So for me, I do one heavy set of deadlifts a week right now. One heavy set, that's it. I'm squatting 5-6 days a week. So again, prioritization. Just like I had to do with my overhead press versus chest pressing for a little while. That's when you need to do it. And in the case of guys who maybe are bros who didn't train their legs, they might need to prioritize their lower body for 6 months. If they decide they want to be more balanced and not be weak and not have weak legs and a weak squat, they might need to put their upper body training on the back burner, maybe only do their upper body lifts once or twice a week, and then focus on a squat intensive program. The advantages and disadvantages, the advantages are that you can grow a body part maximally. You can develop strength maximally in a certain area or a certain lift. The disadvantage, the other lifts don't progress, the other body parts don't grow. So that it's as simple as that. Those are the advantages and disadvantages, because you don't have to spend recovery and food and protein and everything else, which again, there's not that much protein involved in muscle building, but you guys know what I mean. You're not having to waste those resources on the things that you don't need to progress on. Therefore, your body can use the resources on the things that you need to focus on. It's as simple as that. All right, next question. Coach, is there such a thing as too much fiber? Some days I'm pushing 100 grams just from lots of fruits and vegetables, and have read some papers saying it can cause mineral absorption issues. Happy to link if interested. As far as getting too much fiber, it's going to depend. That's a tricky question. Are there potential malabsorption issues? Yes. But it depends on where you're getting your fiber. If you're adding a ton of additional fiber to your diet, you're consuming the same amount of vitamins and minerals. And if you're adding 50 grams of psyllium fiber husk a day, yeah, you could be creating malabsorption issues. If you're eating a whole box of bran flakes every day that has basically been refined to have extra fiber, because you're eating, I guess like those milled brown rice bran husks that have had a lot of the other food stripped away, you're not necessarily taking in more vitamins and minerals, but you're consuming fiber that can cause malabsorption. If you are getting it purely from whole foods, yes, you're going to absorb a lower percentage because of the massive fiber intake, but you may be consuming double or triple the amount that you need. So who cares if you only absorb half of it? So again, it really depends upon the source of your fiber and the composition of your diet. It's not a straightforward yes or no question. As far as other things go, if you haven't gradually built your fiber intake up, you can have gastrointestinal issues, bloating, gas, flatulence, diarrhea, loose stool, all those problems. Yes, I know some of those terms are redundant. So that's something to consider also. There's going to be a threshold, a comfort threshold for the amount of gut flora that you have at any given time to where consuming additional fiber is just simply going to be uncomfortable to the point where it causes you problems in your day-to-day life. So in that case, there can be too much also. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.